progress.
Well, it has, but you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say the word unbelievable. One, that's my least favorite word. Two, you know how it is. The world out there watching knows how it is. Everything gets politicized. But when we have something that is coming that is brand new, that is harmful, and we've got to continually balance this sort of our economic welfare with our biological survival. I've seen both sides. I've seen the right and the left utilize and count only the bodies that were useful to win for their party. And it curdles my stomach, man. I have not appreciated it. And so what it's sort of done is come at a time in a perfect storm. And we've got a coronavirus, we've got a cultural revolution, and we've got an election year. We've got unemployment, people looking for identity, so they're running to the extremes. We've got a lot of work to do as a country. And for me, I'll say you my version, and people go, oh, this is a foreign place of compromise. No, I don't believe it is at all. I'm actually aggressively centric in this way. I'll meet you in the middle here. We've got to come together as a country, whatever happens in this election right now. We can do better as individuals and as a people and as a community, as Americans. We can do better.
Well, Matthew, one thing about the coronavirus, for a lot of us, we are spending so much time with our families. And, a lot of parents who had been rushing out the door to get to work suddenly are at home with the kids.
Yeah.
Their relationships in many instances are getting better. Suddenly the kids admire their parents. I never knew what you did. Your book, Green Lights, is all, a lot of it looks at your past, but a lot of it looks at your future through your children. So can you give us some tips, things that you have figured out the hard way?
I can try. Things that I figured out the hard way. Look, values are what I think my parents, especially my father, really instilled in me and my two brothers. I remember getting my first butt whoopings were for saying I can't instead of saying I'm having trouble. For saying I hate you and for lying.
Yeah.
That's three pretty good reasons to get in trouble. Now, what was instilled in those forms of discipline? What do I remember? I don't remember the short-term pain of getting whooped. What I remember is, don't say I can't. Don't ever believe you can.
Right.
Don't hate. And tell the truth. Three pretty good reasons to get in trouble. And I remember that was certain. I remember that's when I tell my stories of our family's discipline, which sometimes would be what people term violent. I tell them as love stories. Like I tell those stories, and I remember each one specifically of when and how and why I got in trouble at those times for saying those words. And I look back and I go, I wouldn't have traded that moment for anything. I wouldn't have traded that sort of immediate and short-term pain that I had, whether it was whatever the whooping was, for the values that were instilled in me for that. I'm trying to push that in different ways. I have a different way of going about it than my family did, but I'm still trying to instill that into our kids too. Camille and I both are. And look, you mentioned it. This Corona time, it's been in some ways tragic. It's been at least extremely awkward. But we're in it. So being in it, how can we get relative with the inevitable fact that how can we see some green light assets at this time? I have gotten closer with my mother. My grandkids are much closer with their grandmother. She's living with us. I have now leaned in to see what my kids like to do as their hobbies. We spend more time together in the kitchen, more family time. And we already spent time in the kitchen, but now we spend even extra time. So it's brought us together in ways that